Hey, what's up guys, Krishna here, and today the market had a pretty bad sell-off. The nasdaq actually ended down about 2.5%, and a lot of the growth stocks that we really love and have seen produce a lot of these insane gains between last year and this year took a lot of hits today. If you are one of the millions of Tesla holders out there, today was probably not a great day for you. Tesla actually ended up down almost 6.5%, and currently is actually trading around another 5-ish points down, bringing it, almost 7% down just in one day. Now keep in mind, this is a stock that's down over 30% from its highs of almost 900. And if you guys are holding Dogecoin, which I know Elon Musk was supposed to take us to the moon to $1, that is currently down about 40%, literally almost 40 cents now. Even the behemoth that we call Bitcoin took a bit of a haircut today, dropping over 4%. And this was a pretty big move considering that for the last month and a half-ish to 2 months, Bitcoin has just been silent, literally not really moving that much. Ethereum, which touched over $4,000 today and was actually pushing a high of $4,200, took a hit, and when the market fell, actually brought Ethereum with it, bringing it down underneath 4,000, where it's really been struggling trying to get back up. Right now, there is a lot of blood going on in the market, and in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and try and explain kind of what is happening and honestly why I believe that some of the selling might not be over. Now, real quick before we start, if you guys could do me a favor and drop a like down below, and if you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe. It'll really help out the channel. And anyways, let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so while there's a lot of different reasons why the stock market as well as cryptos kind of fell today, I think the first main reason is because of the Colonial pipeline, which is one of America's largest pipeline systems, which actually got ransomware attacked. And if you guys don't know what ransomware is, it's basically a form of malware where they basically inject a computer or inject a system of computers, and they basically request money from the company that they injected to or the person that they injected to. And if they don't get that money, well, they threaten to destroy the system, or they'll just stop the system from working in general. And just real quick, whenever I said this is one of America's largest pipelines, I literally mean that they are one of the largest and most important pipelines. Not only do they move around 100 million gallons of oil, from the west all the way to the east every single day, but that is literally like 45% of the total amount of oil that the East Coast uses. This goes from Texas all the way up to almost New York-ish area. Now, according to the Washington Post, the group that actually hacked Colonial pipelines is a group of Russian hackers called DarkSide. And getting a statement from DarkSide, they actually said that they are an apolitical group that really only wants to make as much money as they can, and we're honestly saddened that, they actually caused that much harm, not only to the people of America that now have to fight these higher gas prices, but I guess to all of the infrastructure problems that they caused. They said they didn't want any of that, they really just wanted some more money. So the great part of this is that Colonial should be able to get some of their systems up by next week, but the bad part is that this hack was actually able to happen in the first place. For example, if this had not been DarkSide, but a group from China or a group from mainstream Russia that, has America's interest, pretty low on their list and actually wanted to attack us, this could essentially really have taken down a lot of America's infrastructures, especially on the East Coast, where not only gas prices would have risen significantly, but this would have stopped a lot of the COVID vaccine transportations. This would have stopped a lot of manufacturing, simply because you won't have enough gasoline to basically transport things from where they need to be to where they need to come from. Now, while I don't think that this was one of the major reasons for the really big crash in tech today, I think that this has really big implications on the stock market as a whole. Jerome Powell actually said in one of his meetings earlier this year, actually it was last month, he said that the coronavirus and cybersecurity were two of the major risks to the US economy. And at some point he would have been right, and it just happened to be that today was that day. Every day that goes by, it's looking like the US is not as strong in cybersecurity as we once were, or as we had hoped we had been. I mean, if we're allowing this small group of Russian hackers to basically come and stop half of the oil that we need going to the East Coast basically from flowing, I mean, what would happen if we had a major attack from China or a major attack from mainstream Russia? I mean, they could really destroy a lot of America's infrastructure, and not only would this, raise gas prices in the short term, this could raise raise gas prices in the long term. This could stop a lot of transport, and eventually this would of course crash the stock market. Now, the second reason why I think that the market had this pretty decent sized correction today was simply because Joe Biden wants to keep the extra money going into unemployment for as long as he possibly can. This is actually bad for the US economy because while there is a lot of people, making more money than they usually would have from unemployment, that also means that there's no real incentive for a lot of these people to go back to work. And of course, technically, if they are able to go to work, they should be going back to work. But since the US just has so many technicalities when it comes to unemployment, a lot of these people are essentially choosing not to go back. And I mean, why would they? If you're making the same amount that you could be from home from doing nothing, why would you go back to work? And this is really causing a lot of these larger companies and actually some of these smaller companies to really increase some of their minimum wages to try and incentivize a lot of these people to go back. But then again, if you had to choose between going back to work for $9 an hour versus sitting at home and really doing nothing for $8 an hour, I guarantee you that most of these people would take the $8 over the $9 simply because they're not actually working and really don't have to do anything to get that money. So while this is great for a lot of the people that are currently not working right now and are fine living on a pretty much minimum wage unemployment salary, if we can even call it a salary, this is really bad for a lot of these corporations because not only do they have to not pay the minimum wage anymore, they actually need to pay above and pretty above and beyond the minimum wage, considering that a lot of these people don't want to come back until they get a reasonable salary, which I mean, who can blame them? Everyone wants to have a higher salary. And of course, if this happens and the companies end up paying that higher salary, that means they generate less profit, which if you're a massive corporation that's being traded on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ or wherever, this means that your profit will go down and your EPS will go down, and maybe your share price might go down because you're not making as much profit as your investors were expecting you to. Now, on top of this, the Federal Reserve president today basically said that they're going to continue buying a lot of bonds, and this is not good for us because, even though coronavirus vaccines are going up pretty significantly and cases are going back down, the Federal Reserve still believes that, we have not necessarily reached the point where they can step away and kind of let the US economy do its thing. They still think that, we need to continue injecting the money into the economy and really making sure that we have enough of a cushion so that whenever they stop, we should be good to go. So whether it is Joe Biden really making a lot of money just appear out of nowhere with stimulus packages and increased unemployment, or it is Jay Powell with his magic printer printing all of our money into stimulus, into the economy, a lot of people are really worried about inflation and how this is exactly going to happen. Now, on May 12th, around 8:30 in the morning, we're going to get our brand new inflation report, which will basically show how inflation was for the last 12 months. And if we see an uptick in inflation, this could be bad for the market because while we are expecting an uptick in inflation simply because of the amount of stimulus that has just been pumped into the market, an increase of too much could really mean that we're actually starting to get towards this hyperinflation curve that a lot of people are scared about. But personally, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's a lot of just kind of fear and really things that are not going to happen. But the market is not me and I am not the market. If investors eventually feel like inflation is moving a little bit too fast, then we might get in some trouble and market might drop a bit. Now, overall, what we have started to see in the market is this sort of great rotation idea. And this is really when a lot of the money that has been in high growing, high PE, high kind of tech companies that don't really make a lot of money and are very speculative and, are projected to have major growth in the future, but don't really have anything to show for it right now. A lot of that money has been moving into things like the OG banks, the ones that have been consistently making money and ripping us off for the last probably century or two. And that money has also been moving into things like, Coca-Cola and companies that have really nice dividends, which a lot of people can rely on during a sort of market correction. If we look at some of these SPACs, if we look at things like Palantir, a lot of these companies have just fallen tremendously. I mean, some of them are literally lower than their SPAC price, which is pretty insane considering, they ran over a couple 100% just to reach their highs, and they're basically down like 90-80% from those highs, which is, that's a very scary thought. But I guess we are just past the SPAC market that we were so used to a couple months ago. Even though coin had a really nice rally today, it is still trading under its listing price, and the same thing can be said about Roblox, which actually reports its earnings in a couple days, and if that doesn't go well, goodbye Roblox. So I guess while we continue to see a lot of red in the market and a lot of these SPACs get beat down more than they already have, we see Tesla get beat down, we see Coinbase, you know, after having a pretty nice rally today, continue to get beat down probably tomorrow. I think it's best to make sure that you have a good amount of cash on the sidelines to really start buying some of the deals. I know personally I've sold off a lot of the individual stocks that I had that I considered to be high growth. Right now I'm really only holding Palantir, which has not been treating me too well, and I've actually been owning some Vizio, which was a stock I actually recommended in my top 5 stocks for May, and that one's been holding it pretty nicely. Surprisingly, it's actually still up, which, you know, for a company that is really pretty small and is like a consumer goods, I did not expect it to stay up that much, but I'm happy that it is. And I guess as this continues falling, I'm going to be ready to buy some more, and I hope you guys have some money saved up to go ahead and buy some of the deals too. So once again, if we see some more blood, make sure that you have some money ready to buy. Make sure you are putting, you know, some money to work, but obviously don't put too much because you never really know what could happen, and it's always great to have some cash on the side. Everybody here knows that, you know, within a week or two, this whole pipeline thing will be a thing of the past. COVID is really starting to drop right now. We're getting so many less cases than we were used to even just a month ago. Vaccine rollout has been pretty amazing. I mean, everyone and their mom's getting a vaccine, and I guess everyone and their child is getting a vaccine now, considering that some of the countries have actually started letting children get vaccinated, I think from age 12. So yeah, guys, I mean, that's pretty much it for this video. If you did enjoy and want to see some more, go drop a like down below, drop a subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.